A very warm welcome to all the viewers. So, in the continuing series of university podcasts, today we have a special guest, Mr. Vikram Patel from Plaksha University. I know we all are struggling with the career options, and we want the best universities for our children, especially the parents, those who are viewing. So, when we talk about the topmost universities in technology, we have IITs or NITs, and in the same league we have Plaksha today. And Mr. Vikram, we would like to welcome you on this day. You have been able to spare a very valuable time, and have been able to reach to Meerut, and we are recording this session today with you. So it is our privilege to have you here. So we would like to know from you what is all about Plaksha, why there is so much of buzz about Plaksha, why people are talking so much about Plaksha, that it is a new age university, and we are talking about technology, innovation, entrepreneurship. So we would like to know from you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm happy to be here and talk to as many students as possible. There's a huge problem in education. When I speak to students, I tell them that when parents and students, when they look for schools, most of them want admissions in private schools, right? They
Yeah,
want to go
yeah.
to private schools.
Yes.
But when it comes to higher education, most of us run towards public universities, right? And why is that? I've thought a lot about it. It's because in higher education, we've had a lot of issues. Generally, in education, we have had a lot of issues, but higher education, even more issues. Because most private universities in India that existed did not focus too much on quality.
Absolutely.
Most of them focused on numbers, most of them focused on return on the investment that they did in education. Public universities were the ones who focused on quality, and that's why everybody wanted admission into
Yes,
public
yes.
universities. But unfortunately, the pace of change has been so fast that it's hard for anyone to evolve, right?
Very true.
And that's happened with public universities in India. I was reading the National Employability Survey of 2019, and according to that survey, it says that 80% engineers in India
Are not
are
employable.
unemployable. They have jobs, they've found jobs, but they are unemployable in terms of not having any skills that a tech company is looking for. And if you read that report even further, it says barely 1.5% engineers have any new technology, any emerging technology skills.
Very true.
It's bizarre. And this is students who've completed a 4-year engineering program. The report also says that about 60% engineers have had no internship experience, no real world work experience in the 4-year program.
Absolutely.
So there were a lot of gaps in technology education, right? And Plaksha, of course, is a philanthropic initiative. We are probably India's biggest philanthropy initiative. There are about more than 100 founders and companies that have supported Plaksha. And many of them, in fact, not name dropping, but include people like Rakesh Bharti Mittal, who's the founder of Airtel. We have Pramod Bhasin, the founder of Genpact. Hitesh Oberoi, who's a co-promoter of Naukri. Rajesh Magao is one of our new founders. He's the CEO of Make My Trip, and many other people, right? A lot of them, in fact, own tech companies, and they're CXOs, they're business leaders, and they found that the kind of graduates they want to recruit in their companies are missing. And that's the reason Plaksha exists. We are trying to solve a problem. and we are trying to sort of, the vision of Plaksha is to create tech leaders. Not just software developers, somebody who can bridge the gap between technology education, but also understands design
Because
thinking.
what people understand with technology is computer science, nothing else.
Absolutely, which is such a bizarre understanding
Yes,
of
yes,
engineering.
yes, yes.
But basically, if you look at Plaksha's education, we have three pillars, right? One is, of course, core technology, understanding digital tech, deep tech, and emerging technologies. But the other part is about design,
Okay.
or the process of solving problems. And the third is entrepreneurship, because we really want our students to solve the big problems of the world. Look at something called grand challenges. We all know there's so many grand challenges that has been defined. So for us, our aim is to create graduates who can solve the big problems using technology.
I think that's amazing. And whatever you have told, as far as technology is concerned, it is a complete world today, wherein so much new things are happening. It is ever evolving. And I've heard about you have some wonderful courses in Plaksha to cater to the futuristic needs of industry. So I would like to know some of those programs that Plaksha is running, and how they are so different from IITs, NITs, VITs. We have so many universities, and how Plaksha is positioning itself among students and parents, those who should actually come to Plaksha and take part in the selection process.
So the $1,000,000 question, right? Because this is a question I get asked at least 20 times a
I
day.
understand.
We are different. So Plaksha's idea of Plaksha actually started in 2015, right? Much before we became a university. And we have formed partnerships with, so our initial partners were Purdue and UC Berkeley and the former Stanford Research Institute. With them, we really spent years coming up with these programs and the whole structure of the program, right? So I'll answer this question in two stages. One is the general structure of the program, and second is about the programs, in fact, the majors that we offer, right? So there are some key differences between us and all other tech institutes. One is that in India, I don't know of another tech program that allows undeclared students to come into a tech program.
Okay.
Most engineering colleges in India admit you into a civil engineering or a computer science engineering or a mechanical engineering before you even experience anything.
Yes.
And undeclared is only a very foreign concept, or maybe allowed in liberal arts colleges. But in BTech, it's not allowed.
Yes.
So for Plaksha to do this experiment, saying you come in and anybody can do any major.
So should we call it as liberal technology school?
Well, you can, but I'm very wary of using the word liberal. We are liberal in our outlook, but our program is, of course,
core technology.
It has core technology, and it's marrying it with humanities, social sciences, and trying to create sort of a very holistic engineer. So coming back to the undeclared major, right? So students at Plaksha are admitted into the first year. They spend about almost 18 months, about 3 semesters, and then they decide what major to pick at Plaksha.
Okay.
Which is a huge advantage, because in those 3 semesters, they experience robotics, they experience physics, they experience data science. There's a bit of social sciences. You do courses like macroeconomics. You also do some interdisciplinary courses in philosophy, in ethics, in business. So really, I think the first 1.5 year, and there are also courses in say nature's machines, which is intersection between biology and technology. So you're doing a lot of stuff, and then you are sort of more well informed to understand where you want to go. So for us, this was a big experiment, right? Because we said, imagine an engineering school saying you can pick anything after a year and a half. We thought everybody's going to take computer science because that's what is considered to be more aspirational. But surprisingly, we had students who picked all majors.
Okay.
So that's I think a big benefit. And also, like I said, in the freshmore curriculum that we call it, the first 3 semesters, students are exposed to different things. They have core technology, they have math, they have physics, but they also have social sciences, they also have leadership, entrepreneurship. So that's, I think, again, a good mix that Plaksha has. Then coming to our majors, so we also realized that a lot of the traditional majors don't, I mean, we didn't want to offer them, and we looked at more interdisciplinary majors which are the need of the hour. So instead of offering just a computer science major, we offer a major called computer science and AI, because we feel emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning, along with the traditional software engineering, is what will get kids a good inroad into a big tech company, for example, or for somebody who wanted to start their own companies. So that's the first major. The second major we have is called robotics and cyber physical systems. Now, most people are only aware of, say, a course like mechanical engineering or even mechatronics. So this is sort of like an advanced mechatronics degree. It's called cyber physical because most machines, if you look at around us, have both components. They have physical components, they have software. Whether the lift that you use or the cars that we drive, the drones that fly all around us. So all of them have components of the traditional mechanical, electrical, and computer science engineering. So we've sort of married them together and created this major. Again, very few places offer such programs. The third major we have is called biosystems engineering, and and this major largely looks at the area of health. If you ask me, if like if physics belonged to 20th century, most research happened in the area of physics, and 21st century will actually belong to biology,
because a lot of bio students, they want especially a new age program, which is a non-medical kind of program.
Absolutely.
And there are a lot of students, those who are PCMB, they have taken mathematics along with PCB. So for them also, I think this is the kind of...
It's an excellent major, and I request all the students to read more about this, because in this interview I can't talk too much. But biosystems engineering basically will look at all areas of human and planetary health. So it's an advanced version of, say, a biotech program. So biotech generally deals with genetic engineering, drug development, prosthetics, developing instruments for artificial surgeries. Our program also has components of environmental engineering, which looks at water technology, digital agriculture, clean energy. These are the areas that students can look at when they come into a biosystems program, right? And finally, we have a major called data science, economics, and business. Now, this major sort of is for students who want to create their own companies or want to get into business, but understand that today's businesses are driven by data. Everything that we do every day, we use data without even knowing it. Every conversation we use percentages.
Absolutely.
So data is going to be like English in the future. Everyone will have to understand data. And that is why we've combined this major, where you become a data scientist. Of course, you understand data science, but you also understand concepts of economics and business. It's like we'll teach you macro, microeconomics, policy, trade. We also teach you business, marketing, business analytics. But at the end of it, you're going to be an engineer who can use data to make business decisions.
True.
So it's a beautiful major, again, for anyone who's wanting to, who's not averse to the sciences, who like sciences, who can be an engineer. And we've actually benchmarked all these programs with other universities. We've looked at what some of the public institutions are doing in India. We've looked at some universities abroad, and we found that most universities don't offer these combinations. Like there are programs that are just data science. There are programs that are just business and economics.
Correct.
And there are some combinations like a data science economics, but none of them teach you technology. In our program, you also learn AI ML, which is part of this program. So it's a very unique program that.
So I've heard that even the commerce students, those who are with maths and those who have probably love for technology, can pick up this program in data science and economics.
So we've changed our requirement. We actually now, frankly, I have stopped saying commerce students, because any
I mean, say any student, even humanities with maths, or someone who's correct.
So
Having
any
maths
student
as a
with
subject.
from this year onwards who has a math as a subject can apply to any of our programs,
Any of the
not
programs.
just data science.
Oh, great.
Absolutely. So
Okay.
math is the only requirement, and physics is highly recommended even for the data science program. So
Okay.
there's no difference now between
Okay.
any of our majors. And the reason we've done that is because we will. So physics, for example, is a mandatory subject, and there are courses in physics in the first 3 semesters that even a data science student will have to take.
Correct.
So there are bridge programs that we are building for
Okay,
students who
okay.
might not be so good in physics,
But they would like to aspire for that.
absolutely.
And can
But
enter.
again, a student who's just taken math as a science subject in 11th and 12th can very well do computer science and AI and any other program
Okay,
that
okay.
they would like. So we are trying to remove entry barriers, not because it's become easier to get in, but it's just that we want, like if there is a student genuinely who loves technology and who's not taken physics, we don't want to penalize them and not allow them to apply to a major.
So how early industry is introduced to these students, those who join your courses? So let's say they maybe begin with a foundation, and how early they begin to realize that industry has started interfering, or they have been called as a collaborating rather, and start knowing the students. Is it a system that goes while training students, that industry also observes how they are doing, and they later intern them and later place them? So is it like this way, or is it like other way around, like the way colleges function, like you first complete your BTech and in the final semester you have your placements? That's the only time when they know what is industry.
Correct.
So how
No,
do you?
we've actually reimagined that. So again, as I said, your audience can actually, I would encourage them to look at the website and the kind of people who support us. There's Netflix, there's Zomato, there's like HDFC Bank, there's Dixon, by the way, who's sponsoring our IoT lab now, and we cannot have a better company than Dixon to do that. So industry is a part of Plaksha, right?
Okay.
They are the ones who've started the university. So we've integrated feedback and requirement of the industry at every level, right?
Okay.
One is to develop the programs also. So if you look at the academic advisory that Plaksha have, we have the research head of Microsoft who is part of our advisory team.
Okay.
So right from building the curriculum into what is required, what courses to teach, to then having a full-fledged career services office. So we have something called CPC, which is a center for partnerships and careers.
Okay, okay.
And they work with the students through the years to ensure they have the right profile for the kind of jobs that they are looking for.
Correct, correct.
So formally, students are encouraged to do internships after the third year.
Okay.
Which is a 2-month internship. And then, of course, all students have an option of doing a semester-long internship in the 8th semester.
Okay.
Both of these are facilitated through the CPC.
Okay, okay.
But our students, we've realized, because we have such enterprising students, many of them start internships from the first year.
From the first year
A
itself.
lot of our students actually are working on their startup ideas. They are entrepreneurs, so they are raising money. We have a center for entrepreneurship that is very active, which is again supported by InfoEdge. So there's a lot of industry engagement that keeps happening through various things. So we have a lot of guest lectures. We've recently had the CEO, the head of Google India, who visited us. So we have like really top-notch CXOs. We have startup founders. We have early tech, entrepreneurs who visit us for lectures and for sessions. Internships are a part of the program, and then of course formally we expose them. But also we have to understand that industry is changing at a very fast pace, right? And many companies actually come to us and say, okay, 2 months is too short for an internship.
Yes.
By the time we train the student, they're going back. So many of them now said, no, we want for a longer duration so that we can see the student, and if they're good, we offer them.
We will offer them placements. Yeah.
So that's why we opened this eighth semester internship. But even if you look at our students now, the most senior ones, we have internships in companies like Microsoft. A student has gotten BCG. Boston Consulting Group
Hmm.
again, they go to very few colleges.
Very few
Maybe the
colleges.
top tier
Only
IITs in
I've seen
India.
IITs or IIMs, very
Yeah,
few out
yeah.
of them.
So they have recruited from Plaksha.
Hmm.
RCSM is a very, it's a day zero company at IITs. So RCSM has recruited
Okay.
2 students from Plaksha and
Wonderful.
at very handsome internship
Okay,
packages.
packages.
So I think we're doing fairly well.
That's great.
Yeah.
So how do you get the human resource to run Plaksha, especially the faculty resource? Because we are talking about new age, I would say, courses, and you need new age faculties also for them.
Yeah.
So, what is the strategy behind getting them? From where you draw them? Is it like from foreign collaborations, or is it from India? So, how do you deal with this, problem?
Again, a very, very pertinent question because faculty is what makes a university.
Absolutely.
Right? So we've done a lot of homework. Like I told you,
Yeah.
it's been almost 5-6 years of work that has gone in before we started. So our advisory, of course, does a lot of work.
Okay.
So our chancellor of Plaksha, Dr. Shankar Shastri, he is a very renowned name in tech education in the US. So he was the dean of engineering at UC Berkeley
Okay.
for almost 12 years.
Oh,
For somebody to be a dean of engineering school for such a long time. So he's very well respected, right? And our vice chancellor, Dr. Shankar Shastri, Dr. Rudra Pratap,
Okay.
he was the deputy director at Indian Institute of Science.
Oh,
One of the most premier science schools of the country.
Aspired.
And if you read about RP, that's what we call him. RP set up the nanotechnology center at IISc, which is one of the most successful nanotechnology centers in this part of Asia. So people like that are at the leadership level at Plaksha. We have many other leaders like Uday Desai, who was the founding director of IIT Hyderabad. So we've sort of got like really big people from both the Indian tech education space and from the Western education who are guiding us. So, for a lot of people to leave the IISc, the IIT, the tags and to come to a private university is a very hard ask.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing.
We have people like Shrikant who teaches full time. So Shrikant was the dean of academics at IIT Mandi for 6 years. Saikat, who taught at IIT Kharagpur for almost 15 years. Very senior faculty members.
So they are part of Plaksha.
A lot of them are now full time teaching at Plaksha. And why would they leave such a place and come here is because many of them want experimentation.
Correct.
They want to teach the kind of programs that they feel like. But in a more public setting where decisions are very hard to take, they are not allowed. So most of them believe in the story of Plaksha. They believe in what we're doing. And they are very excited with the research. And Plaksha has a huge focus on research, right? We have beautiful interdisciplinary areas that we are conducting research in, fields like water technology, agriculture, clean energy. That excites them. The student quality excites them. So we are very committed to bringing very good quality students. So I think that's how, and also like you said, see, a lot of these emerging technologies are so new. How do you get faculty to teach that?
Absolutely.
So now we are going back to the industry. So we have people like Siddharth, who's just joined us. He spent almost 5-6 years in Microsoft in Seattle. And in the area of, he did a lot of research in the area of AI. So he's a full-time faculty at Plaksha. He's moved from Seattle. We have Prakash, who's just moved from Amazon. He was heading one of the departments at Amazon in the US. He's from California. He's now a full-time faculty. So we continue to draw people.
Great.
But I think the story of Plaksha and the people that support Plaksha gets us the right resources.
It is widely spoken into the our fraternity that selection process in Plaksha is really tough, and it's not easy to get through with this process. So why is it so tough, and what can be done by students to make a cut to Plaksha?
Absolutely. Again, I wouldn't call it tough. Okay, that's him. But we are looking for a certain kind of a student, right? The philosophy of admissions at Plaksha, like everything, we've reimagined admissions. We didn't want to have, a 51st test for everyone. You're like, the kids are writing so many tests. So one of the first decisions we took is that we didn't want another test. So we look at a holistic profile of the student, right? We want to see both attitude, aptitude, and passion.
Okay.
Aptitude of whether a student even has the academic understanding and concepts for him or her to be able to cope up with the programs at Plaksha.
Yes, yes.
Because we don't want to make an offer to a student who would then struggle in the program.
Inside the process.
Because generally a basic understanding of concepts is required, right? So that's why we look at, say, academics. But the other part is really where we're looking at who you are.
Yes.
And what have you done? And are you really interested in tech? This is, one of the key things for everyone to listen, because most people do engineering for the wrong reasons. That is why you see so many kids not being happy. That's why there's so much unemployment.
Of people unemployed.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what I would say. I mean, if you don't enjoy mathematics, you should maybe not consider engineering, because mathematics is core of engineering, right?
Yes.
So that's why we have a process where we are saying that, unlike a public top tier institution, we are not saying you have to get 99.8, and if you get 99.7, you'll be rejected. We are saying you get a above average academics. And academics does tell us a lot of things about the student. It tells us about whether a student can put in the hard work, whether he's committed to his area of study. Maybe not intellect as much, but that we take from other things, right? So our process is very simple. You apply online. It's free of cost, by the way. We don't charge any application fees, because we want everyone to apply. So when you apply, you put in your grades from the 9th onwards. We want to look at consistent performance in at least courses like math and physics. If they have physics, then you can put in your predicted scores. We also look at competitive test scores. So we look at SAT, ACT, and JEE mains right now. So students can apply early. They don't have to wait for their board exam results to come out. But after all of this, we look at their profile, like we look at their co-curriculars. So things like, trying to solve a problem using technology in school is a very exciting thing for us.
Yes.
And we get a lot of students who do this. They're trying to solve small problems, but they've made an effort.
Yes.
And there's some spark there, right? So that is very exciting. Participation in Olympiads, doing online courses, research, that excites us. Being a school prefect or being a sports captain, all of those things matter to us. And then there are some essays that are supposed to be written. So it's, what we're trying to do is giving you options to show us that you can fit into Plaksha. And we're giving you multiple options. So you decide what you're good at and put it in the application. And
because there are a lot of people, those who after completing IIT, they look for IIMs because they want to develop leadership skills. And what Plaksha is expecting is people to develop those leadership skills while they are already doing a technology program.
Absolutely.
So that is a differentiator that you are doing.
And generally, I think that's how it should be. Engineers have had a reputation of not understanding the big picture, not understanding design thinking, problem solving, and that is why you see them growing to a certain stage in a company, but then stagnating.
Absolutely,
because they don't have the softer skills for leadership. And we are trying to bridge that, and it's a big effort that we're doing.
Wonderful. And people would be interested to know if they get selected. What kind of scholarship is available, and how easy is the process, how smooth is the process to get into Plaksha as far as the fee part is concerned? Is it very costly, or is it nominal? Where do you see yourself, like, put Plaksha among many other colleges that are around technology?
So I wouldn't say we are expensive, but it is, for a middle class family to afford it sometimes becomes hard. Because of our fee, last year our fee was around 7.2 lakh tuition per year, which is on the higher side.
But a normal engineering also has 5 to 6 lakh.
Correct. And but the commitment of the founders of Plaksha and the community of Plaksha is that any student who's deserving, who gets through our selection process, should be able to afford the program at Plaksha, right?
Okay.
So fees at Plaksha is a range. There are almost 30% of our students who study at no cost.
Okay.
30%. It's a huge
I've
number.
heard there are scholarships by Bharati group, roughly around 20 scholarships. That's 100%.
Absolutely. So Bharati Foundation does 20 scholarships.
20
Axis
scholarships.
Bank is a huge donor as well. So we have a list of donors who are happy to support students, right? So once you make it into Plaksha, we'll ensure you study with us. So there are two kinds of scholarships generally. One is a merit scholarship, for which you don't have to apply. Automatically the top 10% of the class will get merit scholarship. Need-based scholarships are what you can apply for. And generally what happens is, if you're shortlisted, at that stage you can apply for financial aid. And it's not just for EWS, or it's not just for really poor sections. Anyone, even a middle class family, because we understand that, with 2 kids, paying both of their tuition fees is sometimes becomes expensive. So in our financial aid process, we actually are trying to gather the income sources of a family, but also look at expenses. Fixed expenses which a family might have, and then we sort of calculate affordability, and based on that we will give you aid. So most of the times it's a conversation with the family, and we generally ensure that they have enough support to study at Plaksha. Almost 70% of our students are on scholarship. So it's a big we've given out almost, I think, 11-12 crores worth of scholarship.
Great.
So again, I would urge everybody that money should be the last thing you should be looking at when you're applying to us.
And even the placements, you don't have to worry as far as Plaksha is concerned. You are being trained.
Yes, so I feel, the placement question again is a very big worry for parents, right? And I understand. But I feel, what I want them to look at is not just placements.
Correct.
I think it's the quality of education. It's not about just a terminal degree. Most engineers leave their jobs in the first year of getting employed. Why do they do that? Because they don't like what they're doing. And they've not had the right resources. So Plaksha is training them for life. We're training them for their next 10 jobs and giving them those transferable skills. So that's how I think you should approach placements. Having said that, we run another program called TLF, the Tech Leaders Fellowship Program. And that program, we've graduated 4 batches already. And they're all very successful. They've gone into big tech companies. They've gone into consulting. Many of them have become entrepreneurs. And we have all kinds of placements that have happened for them. And they're doing fairly well. So we're quite confident that the kind of graduate Plaksha will produce will be very quickly recruited.
Like in case of IITs, we were talking about decision making, right? Parents, they start from class 7th or 8th, they put them into some kind of coachings, and the child travels through that process of clearing JEE. And so what should be the right age of a child for getting into Plaksha? Or there's a different system to evolve themselves to be able to get into Plaksha. So I would like you to maybe guide parents on what should be the right way of choosing these new age universities, which are very different from IITs and NITs or the private other universities that are there.
First of all, I empathize with all the parents because it's a very hard thing to do.
Absolutely.
I have a daughter of 1 year old. I'm starting to think where to put her in school. Do I want to send her to a DPS kind of a route, or do I want to send? So I think parents have a very hard task to decide where to go, right? Many parents come to us and say, sir, should I put them in the international board or in the state board or in CBSE? Should we prepare for CUET? Should we prepare for JEE? It's a big decision, right? What I would advise is, many times students start understanding what they like, and if parents are very keen to observe some of those traits, they do understand what the kid likes. It might be a subject that they like, it might be a hobby that they like. So following those traits and having guidance from a counselor always helps in identifying early trends. But I would urge parents to first, like how when you buy a shirt, you go and try it, right? So there are ways in which you can experience a program, even without getting into a university.
Absolutely.
So there are ways. So for example, a summer program is something that students can do. And there are many universities that offer summer programs. And this is a low stake decision, right? You just have to go for 2 weeks, understand what they're doing. There are also a lot of webinars, guest lectures that universities organize, open houses that universities organize. Visit there, talk to faculty members. Talk to as many people as you can, because the more you after attending a summer program, you will either know whether you like it or you don't like it. And both are good decisions, right? So that's one. There are also many universities that offer certificate programs free of cost. Many of the top universities offer it. So attending them will help. Visiting universities. I feel educational tours are very underrated.
So students or parents, they should try to explore as much as possible.
Absolutely.
They should cross the, I would say, boundaries of their cities, and they should actually look forward to many new things for the children.
In the US and in many other countries, educational tours are a thing. When you have a summer break in high school, you tour universities. In India, that's not a concept, but I think it should happen. And once you know where to get into, if it is Plaksha, if that's what you identify, then the student will naturally have it in them.
Absolutely.
They would start, I would say, not just for Plaksha, but for any good university, they are looking for students who are sort of aware of both themselves and aware about the society. They want students who think about society, about environment. They want students, so agar aap apply kar rahe ho Plaksha mein, then just doing the 5 subjects that CBSE will ask you is not enough. What have you done otherwise? So I think those building a profile, not just for the sake of building but exploring natural interests of the students and then developing that profile, I think will help.
Great.
And all the best to everyone.
I think we have had a very good talk with you, and everyone, parents, students, you would have been benefited by seeing and witnessing this talk, because you have been able to get a lot of information that is not being told even on so many blogs, or by visiting the websites also. You won't get that kind of information what you will be getting through this podcast. So we are really thankful, Vikram, that you have been able to spare this time and you have been able to create so much of awareness, and the right information will go directly to the students and parents. So I am really thankful to you, Vikram. It is great. It was an honor seeing you here.
Thank you so much for inviting us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our mission is to create new age technology leaders who are confident, who are compassionate, who understand society, who understand human values.
Plaksha offers an imaginative and creative engineering curriculum which is unique in the world.
Real world problems have multiple perspectives, and you need to look at different dimensions to solve these problems. Plaksha has a focus on interdisciplinary education and research, and this, I believe, will not only help us solve problems, but it will also enable students to learn about what all things are involved in problem solving.
For example, a Plaksha student who is taking courses related to computer science might be able to solve problems in very different areas, such as digital health and smart agriculture.
So you have contemporary courses in technology, which are very well blended with courses within liberal arts and entrepreneurship. You build in a lot of soft skills of effective communication, of empathy, of creativity.
I expect our students to be the technological leaders and innovators both in this country as well as abroad.
They will be at a unique position to develop new technology and find new solutions to the challenges facing the 21st century.
We envision our entire campus to be a living lab. Every campus is a microcosm of society, It has all the problems that you see outside. So you can study these problems and find solutions, implement on campus.
I will be pursuing the biological systems engineering course. I had PCMB in school, And because I studied biology, I was conventionally expected to pursue a medical profession. But here I am at Plaksha. I'm not only learning biology, but also robotics, artificial intelligence, data science, and even economics.
The faculty, the founders, the academic leadership, all of them are amazing. They're all distinguished in their own fields.
I joined Plaksha because I want to push the boundaries, make an impact, and make this world a better place to live in.
I want to explore the unknown.
I want to find solutions.
I want to lead fearlessly.